Hi everyone and good evening. Welcome to today's session on keys to mental health. Are you all able to hear me? Can I get a yes on the chat? I have enabled the group chat, so can you all write whether you're able to hear me? Okay, yes. So thank you for joining today's session. Let me just make Dr. Prashanti the host. Okay, so today is a very important webinar, and as we all know, mental health issues are on the rise today, and we really need to focus and understand where all this is coming from. Are there natural solutions possible? This month is Mental Health Awareness Month, the month of May. So we thought that we should do this webinar because just with a few small changes and changing our lifestyle, we can see a lot of improvement in mental health. Unfortunately, the situation today is that the people who are working in the mental health space do not give much um, importance to diet changes and lifestyle, and people who are working in the nutrition space, they don't give much importance to stress, though a lot of things are changing. But how do we understand this whole thing? And I myself went through periods of anxiety in my life. I went through a lot of symptoms, so this is a topic which is very close to me. So today we will also be joined by Dr. Prashanti Atluri. Dr. Prashanti is a cardiovascular disease specialist who also works extensively with nature cure principles. So Wellcure is an online health platform. Let me just introduce Wellcure to you. For those of you new to Wellcure, we are an online health community. Our vision is to help you lead a life free of medicines. We have conducted more than, I would say today, 400 plus health and nutrition workshops. We have natural health users from all over the world. We have helped more than 6,000 plus people reverse their health problems naturally. You can install the Wellcure app for free. We have natural healing journeys, recipes, blogs, upcoming programs, Q&A section, and a lot of information all for free on the app. We also have an active Instagram and YouTube page. On YouTube, you can see a lot of our Kochi testimonials. On Instagram, we regularly post content about our upcoming programs and a lot of tips and information about natural health. Okay, so thank you for joining today and taking your precious time. In today's class, as I said, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So we are going to learn what is the reason for mental health issues today, why are they on the rise, what kind of preventative steps can we undertake. We'll also understand why so many of our children today are going through these kind of mood swings and other mental health issues. What can we do about that? Why drugs don't address the root cause. Dr. Prashanti will be talking a lot about the kind of psychiatric drugs which are used extensively today, what kind of problems it may cause. And so we have to take health in our own hands. What can we do? How can we address this problem using natural solutions? So this is what we are going to talk about today. And yeah, um, the whole intention of the Mental Health Awareness Month is to raise awareness about common mental health disorders, educate the public, and promote the importance of self care and mental wellness, right? So, Wellcure is all about self empowerment, and education is a very important part of it. So, raising awareness, education, and breaking the stigma that prevents many people from seeking help. So, that is what we would like to propagate more, that your mental and his physical health are closely related. So we have to look at health holistically. There is no stigma in seeking help for mental health issues, just like we would go to, we would, take actions to improve our physical health. So also mental health is part of our overall health. Okay, so before we get into today's class, I would like to know from all of you what brings you to today's session. Are you going through any mental health issues yourself? Are you here for any family member, friend? Are you here just to learn more? Can you please put it on the chat? And meanwhile, I will introduce myself. So Sonal says, yes, I am here for myself and to learn more, Mohan to learn more. So anybody here who have previously gone through mental health issues? So Shubhangi says, I want to understand about schizophrenia in particular from natural perspective. Nisha says, I'm here for my son and dad. Pawan says, I was diagnosed with a mental disorder in my teens. I've taken psychiatric medications on and off for the last 20 years. Okay, thank you for sharing. Sonal says anxiety, tension. Asta says to learn more. I'm having mental health issues, says Maheshwaran. Shipra to learn more, taking medications. Okay, so yeah, and I'm very happy to see many of you who have joined here to learn more. So you can definitely spread the message, and also this whole thing is about preventative health, right? So Yash says I'm here for OCD and other issues. Bhaskar says family member has bipolar disorder. Okay. So I'm Asha Shivram. I'm a nature cure practitioner and a health coach at Wellcure, and I regularly conduct many webinars on diverse topics. I've been doing national health coaching for more than 7, 8 years now, and I myself in my 40s, I had very poor gut health and I had anxiety. So I know how anxiety feels and what are the different symptoms. So I used to go through periods of insomnia, then palpitations, and a lot of fear, heaviness in my heart, lightness in the head, difficulty swallowing. Yeah, so a lot of symptoms, and it was a very scary period in my life where I didn't know what was happening. I felt that my body was not under my control. I used to have racing thoughts. I just couldn't sleep at night, and nobody could understand what I was going through. On the outside, things seemed normal. So I even went to a doctor who said organically I am all okay. And then he referred me to a psychiatrist. But before that, I had gone to my family doctor. And when I told him about all these things, he said maybe there is some electrolyte imbalance. And he just gave me a sleep medicine, which I took for 2 to 3 days. But just taking the sleep medication felt that I'm just dead to the world. So I would just be off like a switch between 10 to 6, and my sleep I would wake up only at 6 a.m. in the morning. And that felt really scary. And thank God for the intuition I had. I knew I didn't want to take medications. And then when I was having palpitations, I had gone to a cardiologist because I thought something was wrong with my heart. And he referred me to a psychiatrist because he said there's nothing wrong with my heart. And thank God I didn't go to the psychiatrist. I just knew that something was off and I didn't want to go and get more medications. So I still remember this was way back in 2014, I think, 2014 Christmas time. And it was a turning point in my life. After that, I did a lot of work on myself. I learned yoga, I learned pranic healing, reiki. It was a very big period of personal growth myself, but it was only after a couple of years that I really saw a breakthrough in my health, and I started sleeping better. My gut health improved, and a lot of things changed in my life, which we will talk about in today's webinar. And the expert of today's program is Dr. Prashanti Atluri. She practices in Louisiana in the US. She has more than 25 years of experience in internal medicine and cardiology. And she believes that the key to getting well and enjoying excellent health lies in diet and lifestyle rather than medicines. So she is one of those rare doctors who has extensive experience in both, but actually she works on getting her patients
Okay.
off medications and instead getting nature into their life and following the natural path. So welcome Dr. Prashanti to today's webinar. We have a good number of people.
Good. And how is everyone? And we are recording this, right, Asha? Like we know where the recording is going, right? Because we're going to be using it
Yes,
again and again.
yes.
Okay, just making sure. Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right. Hi. Yeah, hi everyone. So it looks like so today the new word you're going to be learning is de-prescribing. Have you heard the word de-prescribing? So now, the U.S. What is this? Health and Human. What is that? I don't know what the Department of Health and Human Sciences or whatever it is. That RFK Jr. Now he's using the word de-prescribing. It seems doctors are going to get more incentivized if they start doing de-prescribing medications to patients. I mean, I never thought I could. This is the word de-prescribing medications. So now that's a term now. That's a vocabulary word, de-prescribing. So yeah, anyway, I just wanted to say hi. And yeah, today this is Mental Health Awareness Month. So I have my own fair share of emotional health issues and other things. So again, somebody who is a multitasker and who's been always on the go. I used to be very anxious. I used to be like, jittery, and I used to have like multiple things going on in my head, like 300 things that are going on in my head all the time. So and then anger issues, temper issues, all kinds of things. Sometimes it used to be really bad, it to a point that I would like, like throw things, like, I'm like, this is too much, I can't do things. But over time, once we understood what the issue is, and then again with healing through natural, by understanding what exactly it is, to why it is happening, and to how exactly we can work on ourselves, all those issues are gone. So common mental health issues, see, we are not going to deal with more deeper and deeper issues, okay, because schizophrenia and other things. I understand why, I mean, you guys are here, but we are talking about the, like, first of all these things before they go into the issue of schizophrenia. There are many other things that they go through. So we are talking about like anxiety, depression, bipolar, schizophrenia, fibromyalgia has become very, very common, and then OCDs and ADHD. All these things are like, the most common things. So ADHD and ADD has become very common, especially in this day and age of, these phones and other things with multiple social media usages. This has really become huge. So countrywide, over time, in the past, it used to be very few limited people that used to have these issues. Now it's pretty much every child is going to be seen by a therapist. Now it's everything is about therapy, therapy, therapy. A child, like a teenager, it doesn't matter what age range, where they're coming from. If they are like even in villages, not even like not in deeper pockets of villages, but we are talking about even in rural places also, they're talking about therapists, it seems. My mom was saying, like, in a village, like in her village, then the kids, like, who go to city in order to get schooling, it seems they are also seeing some therapists because of anxiety issues and pressure and other things that they're feeling. So they're also they're also seeking help from therapists. So this has become a more and more deeper issue. So India has like a this, I don't know what this is, lot of statistics. So how to read out all this? So nationwide, Yeah. So, but anyway, the idea is like, you guys are also saying it when we are also saying it, a lot of increase in emotional health. Let's not even call it mental health. This is emotional health issues are increasing because there is a stigma when we use mental health support, mental and other things. So the right word would be emotional health support. That is the right word. Then there is always a stigma, the cultural attitude, and then a lot of us like we don't know where to go for, who to ask for help. So if you really go see, like you're kind of like skeptic about, like I don't want to go see a psychiatrist or anybody because people are going to notice that I'm going to this guy. I don't want to go to him. I don't know who to ask for, who to take counseling from, who is the good counselor, what to do about it. And then the institutions are overburdened. Psychiatrists, they don't even have time. Like all they do is 5 minutes talking and then they just ask you a few questions and then they jot down a prescription and then they're gone. And then expensive counseling. Counseling has become so expensive. What is this? NLPs and like even for us, like sometimes we have to like find some counseling help for some of our patients that come to us where we can't really like deal hours and hours of counseling with them. So then we're going to look, we keep looking for counselors and then they come back and tell us, doctor, this counselor is so expensive. Affording a regular doctor is much more cheaper than affording a counselor. So then that, and also the support systems, the thing is like everybody can call themselves, they can do a degree and then they can, but who is a good person, who is the one who is out there to help you? This is not like this is really, this means life and death for some of us. So we need to find the right kind of resources, we need to find the right amount of right kind of attitude. Also we need to find the right person who is going to help us from the root rather than just doing sessions and sessions of counseling and then just minting money out of us, but not really, when we are not able to see the light at the end of the tunnel. So majority of these psychiatric diagnoses, one day it can be anxiety, then tomorrow it can be depression, based on what the symptoms are and everything. So there is no reliable medical test. See, if you're going to declare yourself as an anemic, what is the thing? What is the criteria in order to declare a patient as anemic? You draw the blood work and then you see that the hemoglobin is low, then you're going to call it as anemia. If somebody is going to be called as a kidney disease patient, what are you going to do? Again, you draw the blood and then you kind of like look at the creatinine and other numbers, and then you're going to say, okay, this his kidneys are not doing too well. But then when it comes to emotional health, is there any kind of reliable medical test or to confirm a diagnosis? All they do is the chemical imbalance and then they keep writing all these medications. But really, like that's chemical imbalance thing, how did they even come up with that? How are they even able to support all these things? Like, did they ever go back once they made their their hypothesis that it is a chemical imbalance? Did they ever go back and revisit the situation and see if they were right or wrong? No, this chemical imbalance has been, this hypothesis has been told to us like every year every decade they keep telling us, but nobody went back in order to see if this is exactly what is going on again. So in 1980s, psychiatry made a deliberate institutional decision to reframe itself as a branch of medicine. Mental suffering would no longer be understood as a response to life, not a response to loss, trauma, poverty, or violence, or the accumulated weight of what had been done to a person. It would be understood as a malfunction of the brain. See, here is the brain, okay? This is your brain. And then there is so much happening around you. So your brain and your systems are reacting to whatever that is happening around you. But in psychiatry, what did they do is they eliminated whatever that is happening around you, and then they're just focusing it on the brain that is not able to adapt and adjust to these things. And they are trying to manipulate the brain rather than us trying to understand what is happening in and around the surroundings of the person. So few questionnaires are used as a screening tool, like every day We have patients coming here, right? We give them a questionnaire. Are you depressed? Are you feeling sad? Do you cry at night? Do you sleep at night? And then we kind the patients, depending upon how they feel that day, right? Okay, you haven't slept yesterday or this week, and then you're going to say, I'm not sleeping at all. And you had a lot of work or something, and you said, I'm not eating any food. And then because you were going through some job loss or something is happening with you that week, and then you said, I feel very anxious and depressed. And then you take all those things and then you kind of label the patient with some diagnosis of depression or bipolar or whatnot. But the next week is going to be a different thing. He found a new job, he was able to sleep, he's able to, but then he's stuck with his diagnosis. So I kind of generalized it a bit, little bit more, but I think they go a little deeper into it. But they look at the pattern of these conditions and all that. But basically, this is what it has come down to. We are like, we are totally what do you call as like we are trying to cut off what, like, what is happening around us, and then they're just trying to use what the brain is feeling or what the mind is feeling in relationship to what is happening around us. The diagnosis is based on a psychiatrist's discretion. He kind of like plugs in, right? Okay, he's not eating well, he's feeling anxious, he's not sleeping well, and he's feeling lonely. And then what is he going to do? He's depressed. That's what he's going to say. And then the main big thing that is going to come on the diagnosis is depression. And then he's going to give you a antidepressant or something, in combination with some anti-anxiety medications. That's what they're going to do. That's how it is. But then what if we said, oh, no, 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 you just lost your job, your mom is going through some cancer treatments and other things. You need to be in a position to handle these things. These are ups and downs in life. It's not a chemical imbalance, but you're trying to adjust to all these things. But this is what happens, and then you get labeled. And then once you start popping in these pills left and right, then this is just going to be like, a lifetime of pill popping business. So this is a psychiatrist, Paul Mino, psychiatry specialist. So he's been practicing psychiatry this is what he's saying, that 38 years of practice, I've come to a conclusion that I'm participating in the biggest intellectual scandal of this era. We claim to be a science, but have no understanding how thought or behavior is generated. So yeah, that's exactly what it is. A psychiatrist doesn't have a psychiatrist and a psychologist. They're two different training pathways, totally two different kinds of things. And the thing is, like, you don't, you need a proper foundation and understanding about how mind and everything works. But majority of them, they don't. They just know how to prescribe a prescription or to do few kind of questionnaires, and then they call themselves this or that. There is currently no simple test to measure the chemical imbalance in the brain. It's just their claim, because they're claiming this in order to support the medications that they will be using. So that's the only reason they have to propose this chemical imbalance in the brain kind of an idea. The holistic diagnosis and treatments include: what are you eating? What has been your childhood? What kind of household you grew up in? So what are the other things? There are many things that play an important role in a person's life. Like, just like this, right? There is this woman who's in an abusive relationship for years and years. She was abused as a child, and then she never had a proper home environment. And then she comes in, like, to the psychiatrist, saying, explaining what she is going through, the trauma, the anxiety, and everything. And this guy, he's like, oh, there is a chemical imbalance. What the hell is a chemical imbalance when a child was exposed to childhood trauma or a child abuse from the beginning? Instead of, like, helping her with the coping skills and all these things and all of it, then he just blames it on her chemical imbalance in the brain, and then she becomes a lifelong customer of drugging herself, numbing herself, suppressing herself, and not able to address what the root of the issues were. So this is like universal issue. See, I'm not like, see, there is I mean, I'm sure there is a deeper issue in some patients, much more deeper. But again, the it's the see the trauma that has been inflicted and the organic issues because of the chemicals that the patients have been injected with, untreated with, all these things are creating this mess in their system. So again, medicating yourself is nothing but suppressing, and suppression will just lead to more and more deeper issues. So yeah, learn to handle things in a different way rather than blaming it on chemical imbalance. So what happened was, this is how it happens. There is a study that was 1973. This is a decently big study, okay? So decent, not a big study, like a decent understanding of how this works. So there were eight sane individuals like you and I, like regular people, who went into, and then they faked all kinds of auditory hallucinations and other kinds of things. And then people thought, okay, they have mental health issues, emotional health issues. Then they were admitted to the psychiatric hospital. And then once inside, their symptoms, they just started behaving like normal, regular people. Yet the hospital staff didn't even recognize that they're normal and then their sanity is normal. Instead, their actions were just kept as, such as keeping a journal, were documented as writing behavior, supposed to be a symptom of diagnosed schizophrenia, all kinds of things. But again, the doctors insisted all these sane people were ill. Ironically, the only people who recognized the volunteers were sane were the actual patients. So this is a study. You guys can go back and read this study. I mean, I don't have time to write it down, explain the whole thing. But you can just put David Rosenhan's study, 1973 study. So this is the one that kind of shook the foundations of psychiatry. Um, Again, next slide. Commonly prescribed drugs, initially they will give you painkillers if there are fibromyalgias, painkillers, SSRIs, benzodiazepines, mood stabilizers. Anybody taking anything? Antipsychotics, sedative medications. People pop in Benadryl. Because have you ever heard of like any of your friends or family members taking Benadryl? Why do people take Benadryl at nighttime? There are people who take Benadryl at nighttime. Why? Any idea what is Benadryl? It's an antihistaminic, right? For cough medicine. People take a lot of cough medicine at nighttime. Why do they do that? It's a it's like in a sleeping aid, a sleep aid. So they start off with all these basic stuff, whatever they know at home. And then they kind of like, okay, doctor, I'm having severe pains all over my body. Instead of understanding why this patient is having severe pains in his body, what do they do? Initially, a painkiller comes in. Then they say, I'm having a lot of anxiety and depression. Then the SSRIs comes in. Benzodiazepines. Oh, I'm having severe anxiety to a point I'm not even able to function in, like, I can't go for this interview. I can't talk to any stranger. Then all these benzodiazepines and everything. Then the mood stabilizers, antipsychotics are the higher level stuff. All they do is they stone you out. Like, have you ever seen a person who has been on them? Literally, they lose their emotions, they become stoned out. Or, I mean, it's more like a person who is just who lost all his emotions, everything, who is just been numbed out and who is being drugged out. All he can do is open his eyes, and then if you command him to walk, he will walk. If you command him to sit down, he will do. That's all they are doing. All they are doing is just numbing the person. They become zombies. Exactly. Exactly. So then these are the Prozac experiments. You guys can read up more about this. I'm sure you guys have, who is taking the pill has done even more deeper research than we have done. But again, a simple Prozac experiment, 60 baby monkeys. Prozac is an SSRI. It's the initial SSRI. And then they followed them for years and years, this Prozac experiment. Monkeys were chosen because their brain developed much like human child. And then long childhood, they have complex emotional social behaviors. So they chose monkeys in order, baby monkeys. Then a serotonin system that responds to SSRI, very similar to humans. Then they all had, what is this? They all had a blunted, dull emotion. Sleep became very fragmented and disrupted. Their attention suffered. The monkeys made more errors, especially when tasks became demanding, increased submissiveness, zombied out, and increased impulsivity. Impulsivity means, like, they will smack at you, they will do anything, they will tear, they will rip apart. So, I mean, majority of the what is this, the mass shootings, in US it's very common, right? People, there is a mass shooting in a school, there is a mass shooting in a college, there is a mass shooting in a what do you call oh, okay, there is a mass shooting in this, mass shooting everywhere, mass shootings, right? So this is what happens. So increased submissiveness and increased impulsivity, all these things because of, like, the zombiness that happens because of the psychiatric drugs during critical period of brain development is a serious decision, not a casual one. So parents should never be rushed into this. Non-drug approaches should always be given to them. So a lot of teenagers come to, like, especially if they are living in big cities like Bombay, like Delhi and other places, there is a significant amount of like, pressure on them, and whatever the trauma and everything that they have gone through, significant amount of depression is seen. And parents are like, they rush them to a psychiatrist because they can afford to take them, or to a therapist, and then the psychiatrist kind of talks them into putting them on a antidepressant or something like that for a short period of time. Really, short period of time? Have you ever seen anybody come out of all these drugs that were given for a short period of time? Have you ever seen? So don't do these things, because the amount of, like, psychiatric drugging, and the amount of what do you call, the cover-ups that have been done by the pharma companies are huge. And they come up with this, Prozac has been outdated. Now there are newer and newer drugs that have come up. But still the parent drug is the same, and the origins are the same. So there is nothing like a safe psychiatric medication that you can take for 1 or 2 days, and then you guys can, like, wean yourself off, come off of it. Nothing is going to happen. That, like, this has to stop. There is no amount of there is nothing like that chemical imbalance or any of that. That's all nonsense. There is no informed consent. That is the biggest gap. Yeah. So the biggest gap is that one. They don't tell you anything more about any of that. So the risk of psychiatric drugs, overdosing, addiction, drug interactions, altered personality, emotional numbness, altered family dynamics, and then the suicidal ideations and high withdrawal symptoms. Once they are on it for a couple of months, it's a they cannot come out of it. They can't taper it. Their sleep is disrupted. Their whole wiring in the brain is altered and disturbed. So drowsiness, low energy, sleep deprivation, sleepwalking, brain fog, memory lapses, loss of joy, motivation. You will never be the same again once these things are given. These are not the cure, these are not the answer. There is no, like, a short term short like, let's just use this for a short period of time, and then we're going to use it more and more. No, this is not going to happen that way. So antidepressants are destroying marriages. Thousands of spouses are reporting the same nightmare. Their partner started antidepressants and became an emotionally dead stranger who destroyed their family without remorse. This isn't depression, this is drug induced sociopathy. But this is the truth, though. Like, this is a sad reality. Like, people who come in through the to this clinic, majority of them have gone through a lot of childhood absent parents, lots and lots. That has become very common here, either because of alcohol, either because of whatever the reason is, um, uh, because because of lack of proper, like, godliness in them or whatnot. What God only knows what is happening. But again, if you bring the child, and then if you bring that adult to us, and then the first thing they're going to be put on is an antidepressant. So Lilly paid off. Eli Lilly is a pharma company. It paid off 1.415 billion, the largest criminal penalty ever imposed on a US company for marketing Zyprexa, a second generation antipsychotic drug. The drug remained on the market. Annual global prescriptions have increased since, despite ongoing harm and lack of transparency over its dangers. The molecule enjoys full legal immunity. The function not as justice but as a price of continuation. So they just paid it off, and in order to keep the drug in the market. I think there is much more to this story, but we are just trying to tell you, like, there is much, like, whatever you guys say, safe and effective. There is nothing safe and effective when it comes to putting poisons and chemicals into our system. There is not like a one pill, one drop, one shot, one injection. That nothing. There is nothing safe and effective about this. So we are unique, we are human. Each individual is unique, each child is unique. Labels and categories and categorization of our experiences, no, into boxes, is a denial of our individuality and expressions of ourselves. So is everything out of normal abnormal? So what are we doing to ourselves, right? We are putting ourselves, like, humans are supposed to be, like, we are supposed to be part of nature's, like, doing other things. What are they doing to us? Fitting us in a box, fitting us into this, like, artificial. This is daytime for me. Where am I right now? I'm sitting under the artificial lights, and then look. So now, do I even know daytime or nighttime? What am I doing to myself? So, like, when we question all these things, what are they going to call us? They're going to call us insane. Oh, what are you talking about? Are you depressed? Or people are, this has become a joke too. Like, if we say something, this is not normal, and if we start questioning, what do they say? Oh, are you depressed? Are you going through some crisis in your life? No, we are trying to expose the what is obvious and what needs to be addressed at this point. But no, the outliers are the ones who are the crazy people, and then they label them with so many labels, and then they kind of try to confine them into an institution or to a diagnosis or something or the other. So the psychiatrist spent 11 minutes with a grieving 19-year-old girl who had just lost her father. He gave her a label. He called her a bipolar disorder. For 23 years, she built her entire identity around being broken. She was never any kind of a bipolar patient. She was a teenager in unbearable pain who needed someone to witness it instead of diagnosing it. And then the label didn't help her, it became her cage. And she was stuck forever for a lifetime of medications because the medications literally ruined her system. This is, I'm not lying. I have, like, there are so many young people who are not able to cope up, who haven't, who were like literally institutionalized in the name of a school, trying to squeeze them into a box in the name of stupid education, whatever they're trying to give them. And then when they're not able to cope up and they're not able to fit in there, then they're giving them all kinds of names: depression, anxiety, this and that. One exposure to these whatever the psychiatric medications will make them, like, the label is there for them, so they think, okay, there is some label that is given to us, maybe that kind of helps them with that identity. On top of it, the medication itself makes them so submissive and so dependent that they will never be able to cope up, or they will be never be able to recover back their life. Beautiful lives are just being wasted in the name of all these things. I mean, this
So,
is like,
Dr.
mm-hmm,
We have Tanvi here who is going to
mm-hmm,
share, her story, and
mm-hmm.
going to enable her video. And she has a very similar story like this girl. So, Tanvi, are you there? Can you please switch on your video and unmute yourself?
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yeah, but I can't see where you're.
Yeah.
Let me just.
If you can just give me a minute.
Yeah, you're not visible. We can hear
It's
you, but
saying
video
the
is
host
not
has
visible.
disabled the video.
Yeah, but I enabled you. Okay, I've asked you to start the video. Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead, please.
Oh, yeah. Hi, happy evening.
Hi, Tanvi.
And yeah, and thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share my experience. So, to start with, I was diagnosed being in depression in 2013-14 because of an emotional stress which I went through. So soon, I was into those medications, and it took me like almost 2.5 years of medication to stabilize myself. And I was watching the slides which was being put on. So I think I've almost went through 80 to 90% of the symptoms uh, of depression and the effect of medication. So it's a very lasting impact, which took me almost 15 years to come out of it. And I was still dealing with anxiety. This was in 2013-14 where I went into depression. But I think the anxiety issues was a tag along with me till I met you. So I think the last anxiety issue which I went through was in October or November, and touchwood post then it's become zero. So the main reason why it changed is what I want to address right now. So we blindly get into medication. We just listen to everyone and it just fills into our mind, and we just be like, okay, we'll try this, we'll try that. Okay, there is some problem with me, or like I think I'm not an equal person, or like something is wrong. So that's how we usually tend to deviate ourselves. And depression and the medicines will actually hinder your progress. That is something what I've understood from my experience. And the truth is, a little bit of smartness and little bit of intelligence to deal with it, to understand that this is not the end of life. There are other ways where we can actually outcome that and lead an absolute normal life. So it took me a while to understand all these things, but I'm still in the process, but the impact of understanding it, accepting it, and working towards a particular goal to get better will lead you to wonders, and you will actually start living life the way you used to live prior going through all the symptoms or emotions. So the first thing what I understood was to eat right, because already emotionally gone on toss, sleep cycles gone on toss. There's a lot of imbalances which happens inside the body, and you're consuming medicines, so it's an add-on. So for that, I think right food is extremely important. And this is something what I've actually understood now. I was still dealing with anxiety, but it's only when I started eating right, getting out, being social with people, being in the sun, and doing those few steps which you asked me to do on a regular basis, as well as when those anxiety hits me. So that's when, like, 90% is with the body. When you rectify your body, it helps you rectify your mind. To balance one, you need to first strengthen the other. So the first thing and the most important thing is your stomach. When your gut health is right, your whole body is right. So to nurture that is the most important thing, is what I have understood in the journey of nature cure, and for whatever things you have been teaching me. So to come out of that, the first thing is to have perseverance and discipline, because if you are into depression, or you have those emotional imbalances, you tend to stay away from all these things, because your mind doesn't allow you to do a certain thing. Because when you take a medicine of depression, or for anything for that matter, like you have fever and you take Dolo 650, the uh, result is very quick, but the repercussion is way far than what we think. It's just temporary. But when you follow these practices, maybe your results will take time, but it's long lasting. Maybe what I started 3 years ago is actually helping me to lead a better life now. I'm seeing the results now. So to have that patience and to understand it's going to get you out of everything what you're going through, to lead a better life, to lead the dream life of yours. It will take time. Patience is very much required, but trust me, you will get back to your normalcy. So this is
Wonderful,
one of
Tanvi. Yeah, I mean, you articulated it so well. You covered everything, and
How old is she?
very young.
I'm 20.
Hmm. You're 20?
8.
28.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
takes time, but the progress is magical and it's long lasting.
The
So
the
actually,
understanding, right? That's the most
Yeah,
important thing. Like there is nothing wrong with me,
yeah,
and then comes the next part.
yeah. And
Yeah.
it's become a social norm that, when you tag mental illness, depression, and all those things, they try to corner you. But the truth is, everyone goes through that up and downs,
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm,
it's part
mm-hmm.
of life. To
They try
understand
to
that,
corner you. They make you look as if you are emotionally very weak, that you
yeah,
are like, and then every time something happens, again, the old past thing comes back, and
yeah,
then they will again and again tell you that, oh, this is a repetition, you have a pattern, and all these
yeah,
things. Yeah.
right. But the minute you change everything from inside, first, I realized this is that the first control I have is that of body. When I
Mm-hmm.
strengthen my body, my mind gets strengthened automatically because I need something to pull my mind back to normalcy. So, what's in my hand is with my food and my other practices. So, when that happens, automatically the other things is rewired. It's time taking, but once you're out of it, then you start seeing wonders. That's what I've understood.
wonderful. And there was this, you had told me there was this gastroenterologist who
Yeah,
diagnosed you with cyclic vomiting syndrome, which
yeah,
was
it's all
basically
gone.
you were having a reaction to something emotional which had happened in your life, and you went
Yeah,
through a lot of gut issues, but
yeah,
diagnosed with something else. And then I'm so happy, Tanvi, that
yeah,
you came out of all these things. You really took it seriously, worked on yourself, and also you're here today sharing your very positive, uplifting
yeah.
journey with everyone. So thank you
Yeah,
for
because
coming.
yeah, thank you so
Yeah,
much. Because I felt the same when I was at that in that
ex-
position. So
yeah,
when I'm out of it, I've understood it's just a phase and it takes time, but when you're out, you're back to that normalcy because there's a taboo which is attached that, oh, you went into this, then your life is gone. You
exactly.
started the day you want to start it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Tanvi, for coming today and sharing.
you're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very good, very
thank
good. I mean, I don't know what to say, but I really wish the social support systems need to be there.
you. Yeah,
People don't
Actually,
have time
people
for
don't
each other.
know, Prashant, Dr. Prashanti, the family members don't know how to deal with it. None of us have been taught. We don't have that
Hmm.
knowledge. So everybody panics and then they are taken to the doctor. And like you were saying, right, everything has a label. Like going through menopause, they have associated depression with that. Like, they just attach one condition to the other and make it look very normal. So medicine
Yeah.
more and more. Yeah.
I'm just going to give you an example because I think I have to go, right? So I was just like, see, my daughter, she's a freshman in college, okay? She's a first year in college. So they teach all kinds of like, whatever they're teaching in school and college is literally nonsense. It doesn't even make sense anymore. So they're teaching something in chemistry that's not at all making sense. Whatever I learned was much easier. Here, they have become more, they made it so complex for so no other reason where she's never even going to use that chemistry in her lifetime again. But she needed to clear it for exam. Okay. So, and then I was looking for some tutors online in her college group. And then somebody gave me a channel name, like, just go through charts chemistry and then plus take some Ritalin. So now Ritalin is a medication that is very much synonymous to some of the lot of street drugs that are there, like the I think Ritalin is similar to which one? LSD or that other street methamphetamine, right? Meth labs. So it is very similar to meth. Meth is very common here. Okay, so which is nothing but a compound, an altered compound of meth. So they're like, take some Ritalin and go through through this channel. And I'm like, this is like, that's how students are using some of these medications. They pop a pill. It's very common. I still remember there is this psychiatrist. Okay, his son is my fellow, like in cardiology fellow. So he used to say, my dad used to give me Ritalin during exams. I used to take Ritalin and then prepare for exams. That's how this has become. So they would pop this pill and then they can cram all this material into their head and then they can just go take the exam. And then so the kids have become used to this, right? So the Ritalin, Ritalin, Ritalin. Then there is another kid who was used to it. And then it seems he went for his residency. They do a drug testing before they start their training and other things. What happened? They did a urine test on him and the guy failed the urine test because he has Ritalin in his system. So I'm just saying, like, this has become a norm, like, just like, oh, you have to drink some tea or coffee right before your exam while you're preparing for exam. Now this has become a common thing among students to pop in these medications while they're preparing for these exams and whatnot. First of all, the material what they're trying to read is not making sense. Whatever they're teaching is useless. On top of it, they're trying to cram all of this, and then they've become, like, they're becoming patients of psychiatric medications. So I'm just saying, like, one kind of an example. So I think this is the right slide for that. See, high pressure working environment. As I said, right? I don't even know what is day, what is night anymore. Like, what is this? What are we doing to ourselves? Like, we are the only ones, like, sitting and working on a machine for 8 to 12, so that we can just make some X amount of money going up. So this is not how humans or anybody is designed to be in nature. High pressure working environment, exam fear, trying to study whatever that's not even making sense or that we never will be using in our lifetime, then leads to anxiety, sleeplessness, panic attacks, then starts a pill popping business. Relationships are not going to work out because we have no idea. Like, we ourselves are confused. How are we even going to make our relationships work? Conflicts with family, lot of financial tensions just because we become so materialistic. Then members and anger, withdrawal, then starts the Valium, Xanax, or the Ritalin, low mood, even suicidal thought, further withdrawal, diagnosed as depression, SSRI. So the whole thing is going to be crumbling down. So then finally, when it becomes to a greater extent, to a higher level, then what do they call? Then they're going to label it as mania, psychotic syndrome, bipolar, schizophrenia, and then the higher generation antipsychotics are going to come in. And finally, life becomes super, super complex. A simple thing, like, a life is supposed to be simple. When we have made it more complex and much more conflicts are filled into it, then comes the anxiety, then the depression, not able to understand. So then comes this, like, the whole downhill tumbling happens, and this is where we are going to end up in. There is nothing psychiatric about it. It's just us not able to fit into a complex, materialistic society that is totally devoid of nature, that is totally devoid of common sense, and we are just trying to struggle. Like, we are like those people who don't know how to swim, and we just jumped into the water, and then we are trying to, like, trying to learn how to do this, and still people are going to label us as something different. So mind becomes disturbed due to wrong lifestyle, suppressed emotions, overstimulation. I think this is all Asha's thing. But I think I'm going to, yeah. But anybody has any questions? But again, please, please, please save your children, save those kids, and then work on yourself. There is nothing that is going to come out of a pill that is going to help anybody or save any life at this point. And we are on our own. Okay. The guy who is, like, charging you $1,200, $1,200 for a for an hour session with a psychotherapist, I don't think it's going to help you, because we have had many patients who came through psychotherapists, or, who went through multiple psychotherapists with many other issues, but the guy never had any idea about what the person is supposed to eat, how what they are eating is supposed to react in the patient, and what are the things that they have to do. But once we address the root causes, like how Tanvi was talking about, how we were addressing the root causes of these issues, the gut, and then their diet, and then the environment, their community. That's when these patients were starting to feel better. Hundreds, not hundreds, lakhs were spent on psychotherapists and analysts and other things. But again, nothing has worked for them until and unless we work on the most important things that Asha will be talking about. So, yeah, any questions so far? This is a huge topic for me, and like, every day I see this. This is a like, here it's so common. It's so common. Like every other person would have popped a pill for some depression or some sleep or something. And every day I take a consultation, I come out of the room with tears in my eyes, welling up, trying to figure out how do I address them. Childhoods have been slashed out. Childhoods have been traumatized. Then the parents themselves are like zombied out. So where do I start the change? How are we even going to do anything about it? Anything else to talk before before Asha talks about who is here? My father used to give me B complex tablets during exams and iron tablets sometimes. Yeah, I know. Everybody did something or the other. Vinayak is saying, Vinayak, I think he's our guy. Great, very encouraging. Yes. Got it. Okay. So
We have
anything?
Shiv's audio. Shall I play it? Do you want to very briefly describe?
No, I mean, is it long? Because I think your point, you can do it later, huh? I
Okay.
didn't hear what he said, so I don't know what to say. And did you hear?
Yeah, it's a very brief audio. So Shiv
Okay,
was,
so yeah, I can give a brief history about him. So then there we had, I was just talking to you about somebody, like, I said, right, lakhs and lakhs are spent on a psychotherapist, right? So this is one prime example of a patient who was having multiple, like, childhood trauma. Then his father went through issues. Then there was so much going on, a overbearing, like, there is so much going on with him. Okay, then in 2013, he was having severe body aches and body pains and all kinds of things. So he went to see a neurologists, multiple MRIs, multiple different testing, multiple things were going on with him. Then they were just prescribing medication after medication. Like, I'm sure he must have taken like at least a half a kilogram of different kinds of medication, starting from what, Asha? Lexapro. I don't have the list of the medications in front of me, but I think it's Lexapro, pain medicines, all kinds of
more
things,
than
okay?
two painkillers, one small
Anti-anxiety.
one sleep medicine, two anxiety medication,
Mm-hmm,
two blood pressure medications.
mm-hmm.
I checked his form.
Yeah. So then, so there are multiple things that are going on with him. Okay, so multiple drugs. So lakhs of rupees were spent on diagnostics, MRIs. Everybody will be calling themselves as a world-renowned neurologist, world-renowned this and that, right? Everybody comes to us and says, "This guy is the head of this one. He's world-renowned for this." And I'm like, What did he do for 10 years? He's been entertaining you for what? And then within three months or 4 months, like Tanvi, like how, like, she started feeling better. People start feeling better when they work on themselves. But anyway, so lakhs were spent on it. Multiple, at least half a kilogram of drugs came in. Lakhs were spent on seeing a therapist. He was having different kinds of psychotherapists and all. But none of them worked with him on what the root causes was, what he was like. Nobody sat with him, talked to him. Nothing happened. And since 6 months or 7 months he's been with us, and slowly, steadily, he's been making small leaps and bounds of progress. But again, it's as Tanvi has been mentioning, right? Now he knows what is going on with him. Now he knows what is this right community. Now he knows that everything is in his little two hands, and it's all within him that he has to correct all these things. So this is the most important thing. So 7 months have gone by. Almost he has been going from pillar to post for the past 13 years. Not even prior to that also he was going through many issues. But now he found decent amount of light at the end of the tunnel, and he knows the tunnel is long, but he knows where to go and how which direction to go to. And he is doing a whole lot better, the better amount of understanding.
Yeah, and really kudos to him that he has stopped all the medications. He has tapered it off. He has
Mm-hmm.
persisted. There have been many ups and downs, lot of sleepless nights, pains, but slowly he is getting better. We are seeing the transition. So I'll just play a very short audio he sent to us. He was in the middle of transition.
Here. I'm age 42 and I'm a IT professional. For last 12 plus years, I've been suffering from different symptoms like uh, antibody. I keep on getting pains. Anxiety issues are there. Sleep issues are there. Chronic fatigue is there. Right, and I visited almost all the doctors, right from general physician to rheumatologist, pain specialist. Ended up with psychiatry, psychologist, different therapies like CBT, NLP, yoga, gym, all sort of blood tests, right? Uh, but most of the symptoms were basically suppressed, and uh, even after suppression, if there were the symptoms used to exacerbate a lot of times, and for those symptoms again I used to pop other pills, making life extremely difficult for me, with a high pressure job in IT, mostly sedentary and sitting in the AC rooms, AC offices. um, So last 3-4 years I came across Nature Cure through different forums, and I'm glad that I got associated with uh, Wellcure, wherein I got educated myself by wonderful mentors as Dr. Prashanti and Asha ma'am, wherein I understood the concepts of healing naturally, how the different simulants work, what are the root causes of this different and so-called labeled diseases, how to work on gut issues, and support our journey in terms of emotional well-being as well, right? uh, I would I'm today I am basically out of all my medication, thanks to Dr. Prashanti and Asha ma'am again. They have been wonderful mentors, and I feel that I've got my second life, uh, and I would like to help each one of you, by sharing my journey with you, and highly advise and recommend you that you without any doubts, try to understand the entire uh, the concepts of healing naturally, and then probably you can take a call whether you need to go forward with the journey or not. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you, Wellcure. Thank you, Asha ma'am. Thank you, Doc.
Yeah.
Still,
I mean, its ship has started to sail from rough waters into more smoother ground, smoother waves. So it's time taking process considering the amount of load of medications he has taken. But I think he's now working on changing his environment around him, the conditions that have created all that issue. But it's going to be a lot of understanding, and again, community comes into play. Like everybody needs to be there for that person who is going through issues, rather than like trying to blame them as this and that, but trying to help them out. So in olden days, like or in like a lot of tribal communities like Africa and other places, or even back then also, there were no labels that were given. Okay, if a person was sad, the entire community would be there to cheer him up. If the person was anxious, anxiety had no place in there because we were living in nature at the time. So these diagnoses and labels and everything came only as a part of modern day maladies because of what we have done to ourselves to confine ourselves in a system.
so Dr. Prashanti, before we switch, maybe you can address two of these questions. Like a lot of people are asking about schizophrenia. So have you?
Schizo and bipolar is like, as I said, right? Well, like, it's much more like, first comes the anxiety or the depression or the loneliness or the childhood trauma and all that, followed by other issues. So it's much more deeper. and more amount of medications have been given to them, and more stronger drugs are being given to them. So in many cases, it's very difficult to help a person when they are on the go. Yeah, I understand. I totally understand that it is a very hard thing, and we are not going to. Nobody is going to taper off their medications without talking to a professional. Okay, this is more a preventative talk and a talk about how you guys can address it, but we are not talking about tapering of medications. Okay, specifically, I want to know if you have. No, I don't deal with schizophrenia or cure about all these things. Okay, I'm not going to give you any kind of false hopes about it. It is a deeper issue, but whoever is going through that, first is remove all the like the root causes of all those issues. You have to sit down and reflect back on what the patient has gone through, their childhood traumas, their, like, the familial issues and other things, and then the diet needs to be addressed and all the situation, and then a gradual taper. Once the conditions around him are improving, then a gradual taper can be addressed at this point. But no, I don't have much experience with bipolar significant mental health, emotional health issues. I don't have any experience. So, but I can only assure you that they never were born with that amount of load of emotional health burden from day one itself. Little by little by little, drops and drops of become, of rain, or has become a big ocean in them of this much of schizophrenia or bipolar load on them.
I would also say that we have a few nature cure centers in India. Some of them we personally know, and we have a very good practitioner, Swati Dhariwal, who runs that center, and she has experience in dealing with complex mental health issues. So, if somebody would want to go there and spend some time there under her guidance, so she is a doctor, a naturopathy doctor, and she has a proper center where you can experience the diet changes, connection with nature, yoga, counseling, all those things. That would be the best. And once you learn the basics, then of course, as the medicines go off, then you can slowly, come back to this, adopt this lifestyle with more rigor and regularity, and you will see a lot of progress. But as Dr. Prashanti was saying, it depends on how many years you have taken all these medications. What is your childhood trauma? How do you process these things? How have you learned to handle difficulties in life from your parents? All these things matter. So for such like complex issues, going to a center whom we know, that's what we would advise, and then keep educating yourself. The person who's going through all the withdrawals, they need a lot of family support. So we will come to that, but let's go ahead with the class today. So as Dr. Prashanti was saying, Tanvi was saying, a lot of this is related to the gut issues and also the lifestyle. The mind becomes disturbed due to a wrong lifestyle, suppressed emotions, overstimulation, disconnection from nature, loss of rhythm in life, and very important gut issues. So today when you see the lifestyle around us, right, people are eating late in the night, there's a lot of drinking, partying, meetings are happening in pubs, there's a lot of suppressed emotions. People are dealing with deadlines, a lot of stress, even young children. So life has become very hurried. Nobody has time for the other. Even relatives, even people are not meeting each other. Weekend people are really spent out. Then we just spend time in grocery shopping, cleaning up our homes. But there's no real nature connection. The cities are overcrowded. We only see buildings around us. There's no expanse. Like our mind needs greenery, it needs expanse, it needs human connection, but that is missing. So, day in and day out, when we keep experiencing all these things, added to that, the poor food choices we are making today, the fast food, the convenience food, even uh, parents are not able to pack healthy food for their children today. So gradually the blood becomes saturated with toxicity. The toxins which come from medicine, from our internal metabolism, from the kind of food we eat, the thoughts we think, from the environmental pollution, the blood which has to be of good quality, pristine, which has to flow well, slowly gets saturated with toxicity. And the brain is not separate, right? It's a part of your body. So the same toxic blood is carrying these toxins to your brain cells also. And the brain cells will start to malfunction depending on the pattern which you have uh, which you have in your brain, like depending on your childhood experiences, your upbringing, you may experience different types of mental disorders. So physical and mental health are not separate, they are closely intertwined. As Tanvi said, and as I also said, I also realized that a lot of it was related to my gut issues, to my physical health. My physical health was not good at that time. I was overweight, I wasn't able to sleep. I was having severe constipation and gut issues. And that was when I also started experiencing anxiety. So the the way we treat the food today is very different. Actually, food is divine. We don't give enough respect or slow down when we eat, because we have to eat food as a prayer. Food nourishes us. The right kind of food nourishes us at a very deep level. Whatever we eat is finally converted by our body's prana shakti into the raw materials with which the cells of our body is made, the cells of our brain is made. So when the food is not of good quality, then how can the brain cells be of good quality, right? It is of course going to be malfunctioning. So when we eat food as a divine offering and we give it the necessary attention and eat it with a lot of gratitude in our mind, with a lot of love and gratitude, that is when we see the real changes happening. A healthy terrain enables us to let go of stress and trauma more easily and handle it with ease. So, what this means is, see, the external triggers in our life may not change. We will, at some point or the other have different life situations thrown at us, right? So, difficult boss, difficult relationship, problems with the kids, financial issues, stress, deadlines at work, all these things are going to keep coming. But then, when our terrain means when our body is healthy, then we will be able to deal with the stresses in a much better way. So Tanvi also gave this very important message, right? So she realized that through her journey, and I also realized that when my physical health got better, my mind calmed down. I used to be very restless, very anxious, and I actually made life difficult for my husband in the beginning. But when I changed my diet and lifestyle, I became a much calmer person. So, as Tanvi was saying, the body keeps the mind in anchor. So, it has something to hold on to. To keep the body in good health is a duty. Otherwise, we will not be able to keep our mind strong and clear. So, when we go to counseling sessions, right, very frequently, or very infrequently actually, they don't ask you, how is your physical health? So, let's answer these. Can you all write here? How is your gut health? Do you have constipation, bloating, acidity, irritable bowel disease, any kind of nutritional deficiencies, or any other gut issues? So, very early in life, we will be going through many of these issues before the diagnosis of anxiety or depression or any of these things come in. Right? It's very frequent that people with mental health issues have constipation. Most people think that they are not constipated, but if we are eating 3 meals a day and we are pooping out only once, that means you are constipated, right? So slow moving, the gut motility may not be good, or you may not be able to empty your intestine properly, or you may be passing motion only once in 2 3 days. So that means that you are actually retaining a lot of waste in the system, and that will create intoxication. Means the wastes, the gases, the poisonous gases and toxins from the waste lying in the gut will be absorbed through the intestine and it will enter the blood. And when the blood gets saturated with these kind of poisonous gases and materials, it can cause a lot of different reactions. People may start hallucinating, People may start talking nonsense, become delusional. I have seen that personally. And memory fog, all these brain fog, memory problems, getting angry frequently, impatience, irritability, all these things can happen. Like we had two, three kids cases also who came to us with different health issues, but they also told us that their kids are not able to focus in the class. They're not able to understand. They're not able to sit even for a minute. But once they started the diet changes and changed their lifestyle, the kids were actually able to function much better. And everybody in the family was able to relax, right? So this has such a big impact. Okay, so let me go through some of the questions which are here. Please share her details on WhatsApp groups. Yeah, we will definitely do that. I think you're talking about Swati Dhariwal, right? Okay, then the poster specifically spoke about schizophrenia. Yeah, Shubhangi, we are sharing insights, right? So, see, there are no separate treatments for different issues. You have to start at the basics. You have to work on your physical health, improve the quality of the blood, and slowly taper medications. We are going to give some information at the end of the session. So don't get fixated on the label. Oh, I need a specific treatment protocol just for schizophrenia. I need something specifically for depression. It doesn't work like that. It works on improving the quality of your physical health, by improving the quality of your blood, by aligning to nature, adopting healthy diet habits, and then also simultaneously working on your mental health patterns. I'm going to be talking about all those things, and you will see the symptoms of all these diverse conditions start improving. Yeah, so Sapna is saying not good, gut health is not good. Sonal says deficiencies, gut issues are very severe, says Sapna. Benny says IBS issues. Yes, very good. So you got over all the fast food. Yes, we will share the recording. Naturopathy Center in Chennai, Madras. See, there are many naturopathy centers. Actually, Swati Dariwal's place is close to Chennai, but I would not recommend every kind of place. You need to go to a proper place. Yes, with people having, see, we understand mental health issues for the family members dealing with that. It's very difficult. So proper support, and also the caregiver also needs counseling. So all this is possible if you go to a center. Wellcure can definitely help in improving the gut health, improving the physical health, which itself will improve the mental health a lot. But to see total cure, probably you will need to visit some of these centers. We will let you know. So, modern psychiatry, as Dr. Prashanti was saying, ignores the main cause, but Hippocrates said many, many decades back that diseases begin in the gut. He knew that the gut was the center for many of these diseases. So, mental problems are examined from all sorts of angles. So, this says, what psychiatry does: genetics, childhood experiences, psychological influences. Yes, these are all valid, but the patient's digestive system is not addressed. Many diseases, including psychological ones, arise from internal toxins produced by improper digestion and bowel dysfunction. So, intestinal auto intoxication, which is what I explained. Yes, we all have our problems. We may have problems from childhood with our parents, with spouses, but unless the low hanging fruit is not addressed, it becomes very difficult to address just the mental health issues with counseling. That was my experience also during my journey. I did Reiki, I did Louis Hayes, You Can Heal Your workshop, and then I did the pranic healing. But still, the symptoms continued, the anxiety symptoms continued. But it was only when I focused on my gut health, changed my diet, within a couple of months, all these things settled down and I became a changed person. So, while you work on the other things, yes, work on them, they are important, but please give a lot of focus on improving your gut health. The gut and the brain are connected. There are a lot of nerves in your intestine and stomach. This is known as the enteric nervous system. So, when you're eating the wrong food, it can create nerve irritations from your stomach that will convey the message to your brain. Also, gut permeability. That means a lot of toxic matter, a lot of the big molecules which are not digested properly can go through holes in your intestine and then enter the blood. And that can create all kinds of reactions, like I said, hallucinations, wrong thinking, depression, anxiety, memory issues, even change in social behavior, right? So, distress can actually be your body messaging you that it is that there is injury inside your body from inappropriate foods. But we are barking up the wrong tree. We have gone all the way back to our childhood, problems with our parents, this, that. Yes, but we did not address the elephant in the room, which is working on your gut health. So when we eat right, we think right. But when we are not eating right, there can be a lot of problems with our thinking, right? So, um, yeah, so the feel good hormone serotonin is mostly produced in your intestine, 90% of it. That means if your gut is inflamed or imbalanced, then feeling happy, feeling uplifted, feeling light in your body and mind is very difficult. This in turn may translate to feelings of heaviness and depression and all these things. And without understanding this, if you go to a mental health expert, you may get labeled with a serious issue and medicines may be started, and we all know where that will take you to, right? Okay, so a word about stimulants. The whole world is taking it today. This has become part and parcel of our life. Coffee, tea, yes, you may be surprised to hear that coffee and tea can create a lot of anxiety issues, depression issues, create loss of sleep, right? You insomnia, it can create a jittery feeling. I have personally experienced it, especially in sensitive individuals. Tea and coffee intake can create anger, loss of sleep. It can interfere with your digestion. Alcohol, smoking, taking recreational drugs, it has become very common today. Even young children, students, colleges, they're all taking these party drugs without understanding the implications. Then energy drinks, right? So all these monster drinks and all these sugar-filled, caffeine-filled drinks which people are taking in the name of gymming, sports, these are very, very potent. These can create racing thoughts. These will not allow your mind to rest. It will keep your body and mind in an always stressed on mode. So that means that your nervous system is not getting a rest at all. And remember, your nervous system is the master controller of all the functionalities in your body. If you're not going to allow your nervous system to rest and you keep it in always on mode, it is going to affect the functionality of all the other systems also. So stimulating yourself in the name of, oh, I have this deadline, I'm a very ambitious person, I'm a go-getter, without giving your body downtime is going to create many problems in the long run. So it has become a very big style factor. Just in Bangalore, I'm seeing an alarming rise of coffee shops, lots and lots of new age coffee shops where youngsters are paying premium amounts to guzzle tea and coffee. I don't know where this is going to take us to, right? So please, at least at home, bring in all these healthy habits. So Natutarian is a naturopathy center in Karjat, Maharashtra. Okay, yeah, I know. My son has bipolar hallucinations. Yeah, Benny. So I hope we are going to get into solutions. I hope you will try some of these things and help your son. So Wellcure is an online platform. We don't have a physical location, Maheshwaran, but we can always help out with gut issues. I'm going to be giving details towards the end of the session. Yeah, so yes, Chitra, we cannot comment just like that, whether something can be reversed, but mental health issues, especially when somebody is on medications for a long time, will take considerable amount of time to heal, but definitely their quality of life will improve. Caffeine supplements, says Ranjita, are big time in athletes and sports industry. They take really strong shots, yes, because it's a stimulant. It gives a boost to their performance, right? And they take a lot of energy drinks. That also I know. So imagine what this is doing to the youngsters today. Added to that is the digital buzz. So today we cannot do even a simple transaction without using our devices, right? So unfortunately, that's how it has become. Wi-Fi is always on in the house, even in the night, it doesn't get switched off. Then we have multiple devices at home. We have our tablets, phones, then social media, multiple accounts in social media. We have to keep updating or we have to keep checking what is happening. And this creates a mental jitter. It creates a dopamine hit. So we get addicted to that. We get overstimulated, right? So high speed sensory input. So you see, it scrolls very fast, and you get new things every time you scroll. You don't know what's coming up next. So that's a kind of thrill our mind gets addicted to, and that creates a digital buzz. Okay, so it creates a mental jitter. You will only understand this mental jitter when you spend a day or two out in nature without your devices, and then you will realize, oh my God, the state of my mind in a city life and the state of my mind in nature, how different it is. So this is creating lack of focus and attention span. So people are not able to do deep work. Students are not able to focus on their studies, and get deep into subject. And then parents label them and they take them to the doctors, and doctors are quick to diagnose them as ADHD. This happened with somebody in my family. So he was on a very poor diet, lot of sugary stuff, lot of drink, this fruit juices with high sugars, energy drinks at home, white bread without any nutrition, lot of eggs, animal products, coffee, and this young boy was not able to focus, and they were almost admitting to a psychiatrist. They actually took him, and he was supposed to start on medicines, and we intervened. So we intervened and brought a stop to that. And today he's doing much better. If he had been started on that, mind. So this is what happens. So be very careful as parents, be very vigilant. Put a, you know, let your children themselves realize, how it makes them feel, and talk to them about their boundaries. You cannot force them, but when should be the downtime? When should devices be switched off? Having human connection and nature connection is very important. So what about the dietary habits of today? Most of our food is very high in fat but low in fiber, right? So we are eating fiberless foods. We are eating a lot of things which have been processed. That means the natural fiber is lost, but they are high in fats. High fat, low fiber is is going to create constipation. It's going to create a lot of toxicity in the blood, heavy burden on the body, which is going to translate to a heaviness in the mind. It's going to create insulin resistance. That means a lot of fat in the cells. The cells are not able to function, but still we keep eating, eating, eating. When we eat high fat, low fiber foods, our craving, our cells are not satiated at the deep cellular level. So we keep feeling hungry again and again. We just ate, but we ate the wrong food. So the body keeps asking for more, and we are eating more and more, but a lot of fat is jammed in the cells. It's not able to absorb it. So insulin resistance develops, sugar spikes happen. So every sugar spike, and then it falls because there is no fiber to regulate the fall. And so we go through mood swings. When we eat, we feel great, but within half an hour, 1 hour, there is a crash. We feel we are depressed. Then what do we reach out to? When there is a crash, what do we do? What do we reach out to? What do you think? So we reach out to that 4 p.m. coffee, right? We reach out to some stimulants or we go for a smoke break. So this cycle keeps continuing, right? So feeling tired and hungry, eat food, and then cells cannot take in the insulin. Then slowly the fat also, the weight also grows, right? So we start putting on weight. That creates more depression, right? People start commenting, you lose your confidence, poor self-image, and that creates more issues. So fast food. So they did an experiment. Dr. Mark Hyman, he frequently tweets about all this. He said, in juvenile detention centers, swapping junk food for healthy meals reduced violence by 97%. This is a proof that food has a profound impact on behavior and mental health. If we applied this to schools, prisons, and other institutions, the result would be revolutionary. Don't you think so? Just making sure, if the school makes a rule that healthy food has to be brought, birthday celebrations, fast food, and bringing junk food to school is not allowed, how big the change would happen in the schools. And I've seen this personally when I was living abroad, in those neighborhoods where a lot of these McDonald's and other fast food, junk, cheap food is available. There used to be a lot of crime and unrest, and the neighborhood was unsafe. So I'm sure you have also made this connection. Okay, so kids with autism. So we had a very interesting, like a case. She had come with her child who had autism, and the child was not speaking. So the child was not verbal, and he was going through a lot of aggression, biting the parents, and not listening at all. You know how difficult it is to work with a child who's not verbal, right? And he was also expressing himself in these kind of behaviors, right? So he had very poor gut health, lot of digestive issues, heavily constipated, and with children with these kind of issues, the range of food which they eat is also very limited. They want to eat the same kind of foods. So he was on a lot of curd rice, very little vegetables, practically no fruits, and he was having severe constipation. So once we worked with him, we helped the mother make changes for the child. Slowly, slowly, they started incorporating, bringing in a lot of fruits and vegetables to the diet, and he had a lot of detoxification. And she told us that maybe a couple of months later, the boy started learning new songs and he started humming it. He still was not social in his interaction, but he started expressing himself in that way. His gut health improved, his constipation uh, got better a lot, and the aggression stopped. He became more loving to his parents. Isn't this such a great thing which can be experienced once the parents really make an effort to improve the diet of the child? So here is Dr. Natasha Campbell. She's the author of Gut and Psychology Syndrome. Though her dietary recommendations are not right, but there's a lot of important information in her book. I would really encourage you, if you get a hold on her book. So she says in most cases, these children with autism are not tested or investigated by the gastroenterologists. Large amounts of old feces are literally glued to the walls of the digestive tract. So here she's talking about severe constipation. So that breeds a lot of microbes in the gut. This creates toxic substances, toxic gases, which can get absorbed into the bloodstream. And she says, I'm yet to meet an autistic child without digestive problems. So, just by helping the child improve his digestion, changing his diet can improve the autistic behaviors. So, I have, I have gone to a few places to a few schools who have children with autism, but it's very unfortunate that this is not at all discussed. This aspect is not discussed at all, and this is very unfortunate. This is a low-hanging fruit. Parents really need to be aware of this. So if you know somebody whose families with autistic kids, you can definitely refer them to us. We can help them make better dietary choices and guide them to a more natural lifestyle, which can help the child, get better with his nutrition and with his behavior, and the whole family will experience the benefit. So instead of rushing to medicate children for their behavior, please look at what they are eating, what are they watching, and how active they are each day. So sitting inside the four walls of a home with their digital devices and eating junk food is going to create the corresponding behaviors, right? So act before it's too late. Once they become teenagers, it's more difficult to change their behaviors, but establish a connection with them, like being more like friends with them, and bring the changes in the home first. You have to model the behavior, and then slowly they also will get into it. So here is Professor Arnold Leheret. You definitely read his book. His book is called Mucusless Diet. He wrote it decades back, and he extensively talks about vitalizing diet and gut issues. So he talks about, such a lot of waste we still have sitting in the colon, consisting of foreign matters, old hardened feces. So every healthy man, so-called healthy man of today, man or woman, carries since childhood, right, several pounds of never eliminated feces. Actually, we don't give our body a chance to remove all this because we are continuously stuffing food into our system. So, one good stool a day means nothing. If you're eating 3 to 4 times, just one good stool a day is still building arrears of waste inside the body. So, once we change our diet, lifestyle, and bring in a little bit of fasting and other things, the body gets some breathing time to remove these wastes, and you can see the behavior also change. I have seen this personally with some of my family members. So once the waste started moving, the body was cleaned of the feces, the behavior also changed. A very big factor, a very important factor of many mental health issues today is because of animal foods. That means meat, dairy, eggs, seafood, all these things, especially seafood, these are all very dense foods which create dense emotions. They are very mucus forming. They create a lot of congestion in the body. And today, the way the farming is done for these animals, they are given a lot of chemicals, vaccination, growth promoters. Their food is laced with lot of drugs and chemicals, right? They are given a lot of supplements. In fact, most of the supplements and medicines are used in the animal industry compared to human beings. So these animals are also stressed. They are kept in close confines. They are not for example, in the dairy industry, the cow and the calf are separated so that we get to extract the milk. So the cow is very stressed and anxious. The calf is stressed. So you can imagine what kind of milk is going to come from a cow which is very stressed and anxious. So I saw this personally in my health journey. The moment I gave up dairy products, my health transformed. In just a couple of months, my gut health improved a lot. Palpitations went away, panic attacks, anxiety, all of them went away without any, mental health coaching or any other things. So diet had such a big part to play, right? So the more wheat products you eat, if you eat a lot of suji and maida and chapatis, all these things made from wheat. Wheat is also very sticky. It has a very sticky protein called gluten, which will adhere to the intestines, create dehydration, and lot of mental health issues. So gluten and casein. So wheat and dairy products, when not digested properly, will turn into substances very similar to opiates like morphine and heroin. So this causes brain fog. I had it also those years when I was consuming dairy. and creates a slowness, creates nervous system issues, many, many issues. You may be surprised to know that meat, dairy, eggs cause a lot of these health issues. Everybody is eating this because of protein. Yeah, and protein powders also. A lot of protein powders people are eating. This is going to create a chemical mess, a chemical slurry in your body, and only when you stop all of these are you going to see real change. So, even for kids, please don't feed them any dairy, any eggs, meat. They will thrive on plant based foods, and their mental, physical health is going to take leaps and bounds. So, the faster you get them out of these things which create chemical storm in their bodies, the better it is. So bring more color to your plate. Replace all those dull browns and yellows in your on your plate with all these colorful natural foods. Lots of seasonal fruits, homemade salads. You know how wonderful it looks, right? Just put such, just keep such a wonderful plate in front of your child, and you also eat with him or her. You will see a lot of change coming in your whole family. So, all of you, let's hear a thumbs up. I've been speaking for a lot of time. So, can you say yes or no? Are you going to implement more plant-based foods in your lifestyle and less animal foods? Yes? Doubtful? No? Just make the change and see. You will be very pleasantly surprised. Very simple, right? The more fruits you eat, the more salads you eat, you will save a lot of your gas. There's a lot of all this cooking gas issue going on, and time spent in the kitchen. You will not waste it. So just sit in sunlight and enjoy these beautiful creations. We have a lot of recipes on Wellcure app. So go and see them. You will get a lot of ideas. Okay. Then childhood trauma, Dr. Prashanti was talking about it. So childhood stress definitely has a big impact on the way our digestion works today, because we tend to store a lot of our emotions in our gut. So, any kind of neglect, abuse, parental, mental illness, unsafe surroundings, disharmonious relationships at home all creates a state where an individual becomes oversensitive, over vigilant, like he's always expecting things to go bad, more digestive symptoms in young adulthood, poor gut motility, hormonal imbalances. So I also experienced this, and I have gone through this whole cycle, right? So many of you may also understand the relation, because we are not feeling safe. Our body is not feeling safe. The mind will also reflect that. So we are constantly in fight and flight mode, which will, drain our energies, create a lot of fatigue. So if you're going through any mental health issues, please do go back to your childhood. Go back to how it was. How was the environment at home? How were your reactions? What were your thoughts? Because we have come so far away, right? Maybe we've forgotten all these things, but it's all buried deep inside. Okay, so inner child healing. Some of you may have heard about this. See, many of us carry a lot of anger and resentment and judgment about our parents, siblings, or whoever was close to us in childhood. And we still haven't forgiven them. We still haven't released those emotional traumas. How many people are there even today who don't talk to their parents, who don't call them, who don't have good relationship with them, right? So even if it is not possible for you to call them and talk to them, maybe you don't want to do that, but at least don't carry the mental burden. No matter how painful our early childhood was, loving our inner child, we have all those memories within us. Think of yourself as a young child again. Go back to your childhood. Think of your parents as young, innocent children, and then you will be able to, establish that connection and forgive and release those painful episodes from childhood. Accept all experiences, people, for what it is. We may not have the perfect set of parents, or the upbringing, but there's a lot we can do today. It's not our job to fix everyone and everything. Many of you may be working as maybe caregivers to people going through their own emotional disturbances. If you try to fix everyone and everything, it's going to, have a toll on your own mental health. We can only work on ourselves. When we work on ourselves, our vibration, our frequency changes, and we tend to attract more positive, happy experiences in life. So, love is the answer for all these things. I would really recommend you to buy and read this book, You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. Actually, it's an old book. You can get free copies on the internet also. So please go through that book. And there are exercises there. There are affirmations, a lot of practical tools which will help. BK Shivani is a famous motivation speaker also. She talks about accepting our past and moving on. Yes. So a lot of these free talks are there by many spiritual people. So make it a habit to, listen to that whenever you can. Gratitude really rewires our brain in spite of a lot of issues we may be going through today. If you can just spend 5 minutes when you wake up, 5 minutes before you sleep on gratitude, that will really help you to lead a much better way of life. And slowly, as this practice deepens, you will find gratitude in every situation. Even in challenging situations, you will find something or the other through which for which you can express your gratitude. Every difficult situation is a pathway for you to progress and grow, right? So exercise is very important, but unfortunately many of these drugs, it causes so much drowsiness and heaviness. People on drugs, they're not able to get up and exercise. So if you could just, or if you could just encourage them to do a little bit, how much ever you can. It may just be 5 minutes. Just put on your shoes and your dress and just go out for 5 minutes and come. That is also a start. When we exercise, our brain releases happy hormones, dopamine and serotonin, which balances our mood and emotions, creates a feel good effect, lowers the stress hormone cortisol, gives us deeper sleep. And the most important thing, see, people with mental issues, they have such a poor sense of self, right? But exercise gives a sense of achievement and also provides daily structure and routine, especially for elderly people who may be going through loneliness, anxiety, depression. Making exercise a part and parcel of their daily routine is going to do wonders. Okay, so forest nature bathing is also very important. Connecting to nature, especially lot of greenery, the fresh air, the sunlight, just looking at green will calm down your mind and very good for your eyes also. So if you are going through a lot of overthinking, a lot of running thoughts, anxiety, you can use your willpower as much as possible, but it's not going to help much because a mind which has started racing is going to keep doing that, till it exhausts its energy. But if you want to do it the easier way, plan some time out of the city. Like even in a city like Bangalore, within an hour or an hour and a half, if you drive out, you'll get a lot of places where you can see greenery, where you can hike, where you can take beautiful walks. So that helps the body shift out of fight or flight mode. Okay. So if you like, instead of going to malls and all, right, you as a family can take an outing to any nearby places where you can experience greenery. And this also brings about an important fact that we have to become more active in helping preserving this green lung spaces around our cities. So when we walk in such places and just be with nature, be present, our brain rests from constant effort and stimulation, right? So you'll be without your devices, you're not scrolling, you're just listening and being one with nature. The natural light, the gentle sounds, fresh air, earthy smells, these are all going to act as sensory um, regulators. So it will remove your sensory overload, and it's going to be like a very nice reset for you to um, cope with city life. Ultimately, we all have to find ways in which we can, slowly as we get older, get out of city life and spend more time in nature. Yeah, you can heal your life. There is a movie also about that. So if you're not in the habit of reading books because of poor attention span, you can watch the movie also. Okay, so greet the sun, very, very important. Many people whom we meet who have mental health issues, physical issues, we are so shocked to hear that they never go out in the sun, but it's mandatory. To think of it as the natural medication, you have to go and spend time out in the sun every single day, at least 20 minutes when the sun is not too harsh. Go out and just walk in sunlight or do your exercises or do some activity like gardening is a great hobby which will make you go out to the sun. It sets your internal clock, regulates the sleep hormone. People with mental issues, they can't sleep properly, they don't experience good sleep, even elderly people, right? So spending time in the sun is going to regulate your sleep hormone and boosts your mood and calmness, reduces brain fog. Spend time outdoors, especially in the morning and if possible in the evening also. When you spend time in the evening outdoors, your sleep will get much better. How many of you have sleep issues? Any insomnia issues? Are you taking sedatives and sleep medications? Movie is also called You Can Heal Your Life. So, what do these sleep medications do? They are just numbing your nerves. Okay, it's not a deep, restful sleep. They are just blocking the messages in your nerves. And that's why, even after sleeping with these medications, you still don't feel rested. So instead, go out, spend more time in sunlight. You will have a great positivity come in. And even in the evening, when you go out, you'll be able to fall asleep naturally. Many of our coaches have done it and they see a big difference. And seva and volunteering, right? It's very, very important. So when we help others, we tend to forget our own difficulties, right? It brings in a lot of gratitude. It gives a reality check. Many of us are actually privileged, but we complain a lot, right? So Buddha says if you light a lamp for someone else, it will also brighten your path. Actually, that is what brought me into coaching. So I wanted to share the knowledge and the health improvements which I had seen in others. And yeah, I would say more than helping others, all this has helped me. Okay, so family support is very important. Making food changes is not easy. Handling the withdrawal symptoms as the medications are reduced is not easy. There will be mood swings again coming up. All the things which had been dulled and which had been artificially suppressed with medications, it will start coming out. So family support is very important. Some of you have parents or family who have mental health issues, so you have to support them as they withdraw from their medications. Counseling and motivational talks, spiritual talks, community help is very, very important. Without that, the person cannot do it. Okay. So, tapering your medications, this is a good book we would recommend, though I've not read it fully. Withdrawal from psychiatric drugs. So, if you're on this, please make changes to your diet, adopt a plant-based diet, time spent in nature, sunlight, then work on your childhood traumas, and slowly taper the work on tapering the medications with mindfulness practices, meditation, community support, nature and nutrition, and self-compassion. Tanvi was speaking about a lot of patience is needed, right? So have a lot of compassion for yourself and do it. Doesn't matter how long it takes. So Shiv did it, right. It took a lot of time, but he did it. So you can also do it, but meanwhile please take help of all these things. If you think you need a psychologist or a counselor who will not prescribe medications but who can just talk to you while you're going through all this, please do that. There is no stigma in seeking help, and work on your diet. It's very, very important. Okay, so we do coaching, personalized coaching for autoimmune issues and also improving gut issues. So 1 month coaching is priced at 7,499, 3 months for 14,999. You can also go see the testimonials on our YouTube page. If you want to improve your gut health, which in turn will help you improve your mental health, we do gut health coaching, Dr. Prashanti and myself. The rates are mentioned here, which is the same, whether it's autoimmune or gut health issues. So when I healed my IBS, I saw that my anxiety also went away. So there will be nobody else. Your psychiatrist or your other doctors are not going to be able to guide you properly on a plant-based diet and a high raw diet. So that is what we will be able to guide you and help you. And I'm going to leave this on, but I would like to invite Lena, who is here. She's going to talk about her healing experience. Please don't leave. Please listen to what she says. Lena, are you there? Let me see. Meanwhile, you can all put your experiences. Yes, Lena. So she's going to speak in audio mode.
Right. Can you, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Hello, good evening, everyone. Well, I'll share something quickly. I just wanted to share my journey, how it all started and what all I went through and how I came out of this whole thing. It all started in childhood. It was not a very good childhood. There was some financial stresses, family issues, and even my teenage days when everybody was in the college enjoying, I was looking out for a job and I was struggling. There's always been fear in my mind, always there was fear with me. And even after marriage and childbirth, I could not handle the stress too much, of the child and home. And I don't know how and when I went into this depression phase. I used to have palpitations, anxiety, and a lot of fear, especially fear when I used to go out and there used to be so many people around, and I used to not like it. I used to feel they're staring or some. I mean, I had some issue. I was not able to understand. Then I had some sleep issues also. And then I visited, like that, everybody's told me to visit a psychiatrist, and that's how I started this medication thing. One medicine to second to third to fourth, so many medicines, just increase the dosage of medicine. But, and after medicine, you're not you, you're totally someone else. The brain was not functioning well, we sleepy, like zombie kind of thing, not able to take right decisions. So this really had, I mean, it was a very tough phase of my life. And this went on for a very long time. I had taken a lot of medicines, did a lot of counseling, but nothing was helping me. Like, and the medicines were worsening it, actually. I can say that. I could see that. I went into a lot of other more mental deeper issues. And then finally, one fine day, then my aunt and my family, they all were trying to help me and all. And they helped me like to come out of this slowly. And they gave me good support. I had a good support. And my aunt really, she was into a lot of spiritual things. So she got me into spiritual path. I attended a lot of satsangs, and she told me to keep myself busy. Yeah, and like to not to keep myself free to go out for a walk or something. I tried to do all these things, and kept my now I decide she always kept on telling me, stay strong, nothing is going to happen. And she told me to start tapering the medicines slowly, and that's how I started tapering the medicines. And then I got into this health journey, and eating right. I got in touch with Wellcure also. Before that, I was also doing. I started with plant-based, whole food, plants-based that. But then when I was introduced to this lifestyle of which was introduced to me by Wellcure. I I had a lot of changes. Like especially that's how I then connected why and how everything started. So in my childhood days only, I had severe constipation. So that's how I realized, that what actually started with, So constipation was there. I had this backache, stomach backache was bad. I had a very low, weak back, you can say. In fact, I was operated also for a surgery for my back. And from there onwards, then first constipation started, then back issues started. So all this got me into this depression phase. So I can see that how once I started with this natural healing, I saw that my constipation cured totally. And then I got very good sleep, and I it changed my whole life. And that's how I realized that it is, the gut brain connection is there. So now there is no constipation. So there is no more, uh, I mean, there's no restlessness, there's no anxiety. Now I'm very peaceful, and I, I'm very happy with like, I want to do things what will keep me happy now. I'm doing things what is keeping me happy. So this journey has like, changing my whole diet, and not only diet, exposure to sunlight, hydration. There's so many things, small things, and they have helped me, ma'am, Asha ma'am and Prashanti ma'am. They have helped me to change a lot, and I have just come out of this so nicely, and I'm very thankful to them. Yeah, I stopped my medicines slowly after around in 2007 only. After that, also, I still had sleep issues and some anxiety issues, but now I'm feeling much better after changing this diet completely. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks a lot for
Lina,
sharing.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, you're an inspiration to all of us. It's there are so many who needs to understand and who needs to get hold of it. And it's not just you, but your entire family and your community is waiting for you. That's the message I want to let everybody know. It's a wonderful session, Asha. I got so overwhelmed with emotions. And because this is the whole thing, the premises of the entire United States, the foundation of it is all about mental, emotional health, and how they have targeted innocent people and how they have ruined their lives, their families, and everything. It's the stimulant after stimulant. If it is not coffee, then if it is alcohol, then it is psychiatric medications. It's just how they then the children are affected, then the trauma, and then how it just boils down to everything.
Yeah, and I feel even families do not know how to talk about all these things. How do we interact? Uh, like the children should be open, and they should be able to freely express to their parents what they are going through. Parents shouldn't panic. They should have this kind of information. Like first they should check how is the gut health, what are they eating, what is going on. Because today most of the children have their own rooms and it's somewhere upstairs. Parents are downstairs and they are on their devices. Nobody knows what they are watching. All these issues are there. So life is much more complex, but solutions are simple. We just need to make the change, and the change has to start with us. After that, only the others will follow in. Nisha, I want to say something about Wellcare. I'm an ex-student. Yes, please. Okay, any last few questions? It was a long class, 2 hours.
Nisha is going to talk or what happened? Nisha, please keep it short and simple. Okay,
You
Nisha, you
want?
can write.
Yeah. Sapna, you can also put it on the chat because, if you give a chance,
Yeah, it's been
it
a
will.
long day.
Yeah. Okay, so meanwhile, others, can you write at least two things, 2 points, which you can take away from this webinar? You spend 2 hours, hopefully at least 2 points, which you are going to start changing, which you're going to bring in, implement in your life from today. Thank you, Nisha. Nisha says, I've got good experience with Wellcure. They are actually the best. Yeah, we are just messengers of Nature Cure. Yeah, thank you for saying that. Sapna wants appointment quickly. You can message our team. Let me. So this is the.
Shall I taper off my
You can call this number.
or you can okay, the same number to Sanjana, right? Yeah. You
Yeah.
can call that number or you can Sanjana will call you if you just leave your name, I guess. So no wait, there is somebody who is who is saying, can I taper off the medications? No, 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 you're not going to taper without properly talking to us, okay?
Yeah, psychiatric medications should not be
So
stopped
Sapna
like that.
Mukherjee is saying the session was very beneficial. Thank you, Sapna. But Nisha, I hope you're doing very well. Yeah, don't stop them without proper consultation and talking to people. And we need to know exactly what happened, how you were started on all that stuff. Gayatri is saying nature is the best medicine. Perfect. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Go back to nature for any answers, for anything. The most important thing is go back to nature. Okay, understanding about your current situation or whatever condition is, there is no, nothing that is going to come out of pill popping other than chemical pollution in our system. So don't do any of that stuff. But again, pause for a second, postpone it, and consider other options. As we said, working on yourself, rethinking, readjusting, reworking on your stimulant intake, and all these stuff has to be worked on before you even think that there is something wrong with their body. There is nothing wrong with our brains. There is nothing wrong with our body. It's just the thing is like they're trying to squeeze us into a system that's not working for us.
So don't taper the medications without changing your diet and lifestyle. First, work on that, okay? And have a little patience and support, and preferably work with somebody who can help you out. Okay, guys, so thank you for today's session and hope you will get a good sleep. And yeah, hope you are leaving with a lot of positivity. And please educate yourselves. There are always solutions for all these things. Okay, so take care, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Prashanti, and thanks to Lina, Shiv, and Tanvi for sharing their experiences. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, stay connected with Wellcure. No matter what your issue is, the answer is Wellcure for everything. All right, have a
Bye
good
bye.
night. Bye.